Welcome to my top 3 assistant exercises for bench press. Anyone who watches my stuff or reads my blog will know that I'm a huge advocate of movement specific training. So if you want to get better at bench press, you should do a lot of volume of bench press, somewhere for squat, deadlift, or any movement you're trying to get better at. To master it, you need to do it. Although anyone who's been around lifting for a while will appreciate that there are times when there's a weakness in your lift, or something's not really clicking with the lift, and you kind of have to go outside the box, or stop banging your head against the same thing and try different things to get better at the lift you're trying to get better at. Sometimes for some people, like more so for novice lifters, because they're so weak and unstable in the shoulder, they can find if they come away from barbell pressing and go to dumbbell pressing for 3-4 weeks, when they come back to barbell lifting, they're much stronger. It's because they've built up the strength and the stabilizing muscles in their shoulders, and it's a much more stable joint, and they find it easier to control the bar, and thus it gets stronger. So that's one instance where kind of coming away from barbell training can actually pay dividends, and you can come back stronger because of it. So these are some of the things that not really for novices, they're more for intermediate benchers. So once you get up to about 1.4, 1.5 times body weight and beyond, these are the things that really help my bench press when I kind of got that level. So number 1, close grip bench press. This was a staple of my training, right up from about 160 up to about 190. Getting really hammering close grip bench press helped my bench a lot. I would normally go from a bench day where I'd follow whatever program I was doing, and day 2 would be close grip bench. So a lot of people think that close grip bench is good for lockout, although that's not necessarily the case. What I find close grip bench press is really good for is getting people to appreciate the need to drive from the bottom quickly, because the sticking point's so severe on a close grip bench press. You'll find a lot of people work out that they need to carry a crap load of momentum from the bottom. So when they get to the top, it's probably around about 20 degrees before lockout at the elbow. That's where the sticking point in the close grip is, and it's a bitch of a sticking point. Once you hit it, you really got to work hard to get through it. With a wide grip bench press, you got much more room for maneuver. It's much easier. You got stretch on your chest muscles at that position, so you can engage it to pull the shoulders in and kind of rotate and lock the elbows, whereas a close grip bench press is much more difficult. At the start of the close grip bench press, you get a huge kind of stretch on your lats, and you get a huge stretch in the anterior shoulder and a little bit of chest, so you got all that firing together, so you can generate a lot of momentum and a lot of pace from the bottom. But when you get that top position, you're only left with your triceps really. So lockout on close grip bench press is extremely difficult. So it's a really good one for not necessarily for teaching lockout, but more for like emphasizing the need for speed from the bottom of the bench press. And also it's a really good tricep exercise. So if you struggle, sorry, microphone just came off. If you struggle with locking out your lifts, then that can also work and help. But I find it's really useful for speed from the bottom. Number 2, standing or seated strict shoulder press. So when I say strict, I mean strict. Seated is probably better because it's a bit harder to generate momentum from the bottom. What you're really interested in, if you're doing this for bench press, isn't really when the bar goes past your head, because then it's more of a tricep movement, and it's a pretty light tricep movement at that. You're really interested from the chest, like touching the chest, to about head height. So if you're doing this solely for bench press, you could probably justify just working in that range of motion, because that's working the anterior delt, medial head, and less so the anterior head of the delt. But this is the muscle groups that if you come up your face on a bench press or you come out of line, these are the muscles that will help you kind of rescue it. They also give you a better lateral control of the bar, so the bar doesn't wobble so much when you're pressing or you're bringing it down. Similar to what we were kind of talking about with a dumbbell bench press, having really strong shoulders in a vertical plane of motion, it's the only way you can really load up that muscle group. Because when you start pressing a horizontal plane of motion, the bigger, stronger muscle, the chest, takes over. Um, so that you really want to be pressing in that vertical plane. You can do it on like a high incline bench press. Will kind of it will kind of achieve the same sort of aim, but kind of a more vertical, not bolt upright, but a slight angle. Just you're really loading up that anterior delt, because that's what's involved in the bench press heavily, and that's what's really going to give you the strength to kind of rescue a line. So if you come up from the chest and you kind of hit the wrong line and you're coming up towards your face, having the strength in the shoulder to kind of to control that bar a bit more is going to stand you in good stead in the future. And then, so those are kind of the two pressing exercises that I would recommend for bench press. Obviously, more volume of pressing, like dumbbells for hypertrophy and stuff like that, it's not really is a good idea. But those are like bench press, close grip bench press, and stand-in or strict shoulder press are kind of the three that if I had to choose, I would choose from a program. Number 3 is strict barbell row or wide grip pull-ups chest to bar. And the reason I say strict, and on the barbell row, I would much prefer if you had a bench pull or you had a dumbbell bench you could set up where you could do it with your chest supported, so you can't engage your hips or you can't swing the barbell. That really helps. Probably the bench row is the best one, because you can take the same grip you can use in your bench press and you can really load up the muscles in your back that are antagonists to the prime movers in the bench press. So if you got strong chest, you got strong bicep, got strong shoulder, strong tricep, it really helps that if the anterior musculature to that, so your lower traps, your serratus, your lats, your biceps, your rear delts, all your upper back is strong as fuck. That really helps primarily for injury prevention, but it also you won't believe like how much stronger you'll feel in the bench press if you get really strong at back work, but strict back work. And I really want to labor that point, because where people go wrong on when they do their back, like when they do a heavy chin, when they do a heavy pull up, they like swing and cheat the shit out of it and just try to get the weight up. It's not like quality of execution for your back is key to developing your back, because the back muscles, they draw the humerus back and they also draw your scapular and shoulder blades back. So the best way to kind of achieve that is to do that in isolation, not use momentum, not swing, not engage your hips. Yeah, you can, if you want to, you can load up 220 kilos on a bent over row, like do it with shit form, but it's not really doing anything for your back. It'll do something for your lower back, your glutes. You could maybe make it an argument as an assistance for deadlift, but for an assistance for bench press, it's really not very useful. So if you set up like a wide grip pull up and demand that you touch the chest of the bar, right there, you won't be able to cheat it. It'll be strict. Or if you do a barbell row and do a chest supported, it's going to be strict. So those are kind of my 3 key exercises for developing bench presses. I'm going to put in a 4th one, and basically you've probably heard this before, but it is true. Do lots and lots of back work. That's lots of back work. So for me anyway, for every bench rep that I do, I try to do 3 to 5 back reps. So in a program, if I do 50 working reps in the week, I'll try to do between 150 to 250 working sets of back. It doesn't have to be heavy, it's just volume. You should have at least one heavy movement in there. So for me currently, my heavy movement is bench row. My 1RM bench row is like 115. And my 1RM bench to the minutes, it was about 205 about 4 or 5 weeks ago, but it's dropped down. That's 450 pounds for any Americans watching, and a bench row of about 240, maybe 250 pounds. So my back in that primary movement, my strength's weak as fuck. So my shoulders kind of took up a little bit of a niggle. So over the next 3-4 weeks, while the shoulder recovers and my bench frequency is down, one of my main upper body goals is going to get that bench row up to a reasonable level. So like about 160, 170 would be ideal. It's probably going to take me about a year to get up to there. But also I do lots of dumbbell rows, lots of machines. Machines are great for back. Cables are great for back. TRX is very good for back. Anything that includes a full range of movement, you can load it, and you can fatigue at the muscles locally, is a great thing for your back, upper back. So I would say you want one or two heavy movements that are still strict, but they're heavier. And if you get a little bit wild on the form, it's not too bad. And then you have as much planes of motion and as many different variations of exercises and as much volume as possible for the upper back. Face pulls, all the sort of stuff you've seen online is all great. You should be doing it. Okay, so I hope this has been a useful video for anyone looking to bring up their bench press. As I mentioned before, keep a blog and a website called castironstrength.com. There are forums on there. Go and have a look at the website, read some articles, watch some videos, see if you like it. If you have any training queries, shoot them off to speedpowerperformance@gmail.com. I also offer online coaching services to anybody who wants to inquire about rates. Feel free to shoot me an email. And that concludes this video. This is Mark Keys, castironstrength.com, signing off. See you next time.